Welcome back to the Crypto is Key conversation, man. I got a couple different things I want to cover. Obviously, Jerome Powell and the Fed had raised the interest rate hike. I think it was 25 basis points. And then we have this huge, it says House Representatives is marking up a regulatory framework for digital assets right now in the Financial Service Committee. This would not be happening today without the efforts of so many retail token holders who have made their voices heard. You share in this moment. So this is from JD and Crypto Law. And then we have our representative right here talking. Patrick Meharry delivers opening remarks at today's historic markup of comprehensive digital asset markup structure legislation. This is huge. We're going to play about 1 minute of it. You can come in and watch the full segment, but I want to encourage you to stay to the end of this video because I'm going to cover this tweet that Lex XRP had put up because I think everyone can kind of feel this in its importance and the gravity that it holds. But we're going to cover this really quick. Let's listen in to about 1 minute or so of this clip.
We're here to take an historic step for American innovation and consumer protection as we undertake the first ever legislative markup for digital assets legislation. The legislation we're considering today is more than a decade in the making. 15 years ago, the Bitcoin white paper was published under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. The paper envisioned a global financial network built on peer-to-peer permissionless transactions of digital assets using public, cryptographically protected distributed ledger technology. Since then, thousands of builders, innovators, and entrepreneurs have worked to make that vision of a more inclusive financial system a reality. Terms like cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and the digital asset ecosystem are now part of the everyday lexicon for millions of Americans and people around the world. This is a software revolution and a financial revolution if done correctly. Developers are using blockchain.
So this is huge. Hopefully, we get something good comes out of it. We're going to keep tabs on kind of what happens. Maybe something came up. This was a few hours ago. But no, that's huge. Progress is progress, right? We got to take our wins when we can. And now we're talking about getting into like regulations and regulatory clarity, trying to come up with this framework so people know how to, abide by the laws and rules and know how to proceed forward. You got, Chairman Gensler and this gentleman here, right here. This is, this is comical right here. So this is Brad Sherman and Chairman Gensler here. And Tony Edwards says, two clowns meet to come up with unlawful ways to go after crypto industry. Now that XRP is not a security and Prometheum lies have been exposed. It's crazy. There's been a lot of different tweets that I think are super comical of these two, especially like when they have Elizabeth Warren in it as well. So coming over here, JD had in Crypto Law had responded to this tweet where it says, quote, digital assets that are not inherently securities may be offered as a part of the investment contract, but that does not make them necessarily securities. And that's from Chairman McHenry. JD in Crypto Law says, given that a digital asset itself is not a security under Howey, in decades of federal law case law supports that Congress is moving to codify this into legislation. That the SEC would lift a finger to fight proves it has no allegiance to the law. That's straight up and simply put, man. And it goes into what Hester Pierce is saying right here, man. It's shameful. It says the SEC exhibits hostility towards technology and disclosure in a new rule proposal. And then she puts up this stuff. Highly recommend you go in and kind of read her take on it. But it's like, this is an SEC representative talking about the SEC. It's no surprise to us at this point, but it's still like, are you serious? Like, this is crazy. And then some more stuff. Obviously, we talk about, these narratives and agendas that are still, bestowed upon the XRP community, Ripple, the company, and obviously just crypto in general. But now you have like JD when he had this video. Let me make sure I got this right. I think it was The Truth Matters, Thoughts on Judge Torres and the Decision. So that live stream he had, and he was calling out, attorneys and these people that have, different legal perspectives in regards of Judge Torres' decision declaring XRP not a security when it comes to secondary market sales and stuff. He's saying, come out of the shadows, come into the light. And then he was calling out these unnamed lawyers that Charles Gasparino's been using, and Charles Gasparino says, unnamed, there are too many securities lawyers to name who think Torres' decision is nutty, but here's one. And then he threw out John Reed Stark. JD says, Charlie, I'm familiar with John Reed Stark, and he and I have always been respectful to each other, but he's invited any time to come talk about the merits of the tour's decision with me. He was wrong before the decision, and he's wrong now, although I'd much rather debate someone who brought the case. A career Wall Street guy and a securities lawyer versus a Marine. Deep down, you know who you'd bet on, brother. And then, there's more stuff that goes on down here. But Charles Gasparino was saying that, I'm sorry, having two classes of investors in XRP is maybe one of the dumbest precedents ever created. I'm no says XRP is a security, but the dual class notion will only lead to more confusion. And JV hits it on the head. It says, I don't believe there are two classes of investors. It's just if you're buying XRP from Ripple directly, or are you getting it from getting it for a discount and selling it restrictions based on the Ripple's purchase agreement contract, then yeah, there are securities transactions compared to you just buying it on the secondary market on an exchange or so. So I was going to play this clip, but long story short, that's what he's doing. He's saying, if you have, especially if you brought the case, but like if you have these opposing opinions based on Judge Torres's verdict, like, well, come on the record. Stop saying all this stuff behind closed doors off the record. Come on the record, and we're going to have an open and live and respectful debate and conversation, and then, hash it out type thing. Who knows? I doubt it will ever happen, but shout out JD, man. He's always fighting the good fight, man. And even Meta Lawman's talking about his video here. It says another masterclass by JD in taking complex legal concepts and making them easy for everyone to understand. John is one of the real heroes of the longest C versus Ripple XRP fight, and importantly, he understands one critical fact. It's not over, and that's why he's still fighting, and he's going to continue to fight. And that's huge that we got him in the community. And before I get to this Lex XRP thing that I think is probably a very significant tweet in regards of the everyday retail investors like myself, I'm just wanted to cover what we're looking at. We're currently sitting at a 1.2 trillion on market cap. Bitcoin sitting at 29,457. Ethereum sitting at 1870. XRP sitting at 71 cents. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index sitting at a 51 at a neutral. So, with the basis points and stuff, we're still holding pretty strong. We'll kind of see. It's going to be a waiting game to kind of see what happens in the next, coming days and weeks. But getting into this tweet, man, shout out Lex XRP. Or Coining 203. This is huge. It says, April 13, 2021, I didn't pull any profit. I wish I did. My ego, my greed, I didn't stick to my plan. The friends I had in my circle were bad influences. I didn't listen to my wife. I didn't follow my gut. Here I am with only a screenshot to remember. Don't be me. Stick to your, I think he meant to your plan. Follow your gut. As BC Backer says, check your emotional log, which is huge. We're going to cover this line by line. I quit my job with only paper gains. I had no income, just hype from charts and tweets. The reality hit. XRP started to go down, and I had to sell to fund a fake lifestyle I created for myself. Now that XRP has clarity, if something like this happens to you, remember me. Remember I effed up so you don't have to learn from my mistakes. And I'm just going to show you this screenshot. He has almost 500,000 XRP tokens. And then at the time, it was $1.87, which is significantly below XRP's all-time high. Obviously, this is 2021 when we had that little spike. But this is still significantly below the 340 or 380 XRP all-time high, depending on the exchange you're looking at. And he was sitting just under $900,000. And obviously he has some other assets here, but this is the most significant one, right? So really put that into context, right? Like think about how he felt at this time. Like, we haven't hit our all-time high, just like all the other assets. Yeah, we're under, an SEC lawsuit, but you're thinking, okay, maybe we could potentially hit our all-time high at a very minimum, but maybe we may find price discovery, right? So he's thinking, man, I might make, 1.5 million or whatever the case is, or even $1 million. So just to let you know, and I've talked about it on this channel, like my portfolio, it's not just XRP, but my portfolio was very minuscule in a sense in my life in reference to his. Like it's very, very, very small, but it's still significant for me. And I've had a similar experience, and I felt this tweet tough. Because it's very easy for us to sit here and fall in love with a digital asset or a blockchain company and what they're set out to do. And, we have all these thoughts and admirations of potential price action, and we're gonna hit $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever the case is, and you just get all this just it's FOMO, it's euphoria, it's hopium, it's all that stuff, right? Some of it's real too, right? Especially when it comes to the digital asset XRP, like that's really what we believe. But it's like there's so much more that happens getting to that point. And it's like, and I'm not sitting here trying to preach or anything, but it's real though. And it's something that I've learned. And that's why I'm saying it is there's a lot of steps that happen in between that goal. There's so many things that you can do with your finances in your life. Like for him, he has a family. I have, kids. I have 2 boys. I have 2 sons that, I want to be able to do a lot of things for them and provide a life for them and be around as much as possible. And if if I'm fortunate enough to ever one day, get to where this gentleman, wow, that's amazing. If I'm ever able to even do remotely something like that, like I want to be to the point where I'm at now, to where I've been through, dang, that was terrible that I did that. I'm beating myself down till I get to the point where I'm grounded in my investing strategy, my profit taking strategy, and I execute to not just miss all the great things that happen in between starting it, and then reaching that goal of, it could be retirement for him. I don't know what it is, but I know this can be the retirement for a lot of people at this price. I'm just depending on your lifestyle, I guess. Anyways, the point is think about if he did take 25%, 50%, right? What could he have done with his life in between waiting? Especially for XRP investors, like we've been waiting years and years and years, right? So what could he have done? He could have took a certain percentage and allocated it toward reinvesting when XRP hit, more lows, in reference to this almost $2 range. He could have accumulated more and then, continue to, hodl or accumulate more up until, we've finally got XRP not being declared a security, and, hopefully soon getting into new price action and new price discovery type stuff. Then again, could have funded his life. Like he said, he built this fake lifestyle that he wasn't financially ready to meet. He said it was on paper. It's like, man, I felt this so tough. And if I'm coming up here, he says, quote unquote, friends. Obviously, he had some rough influences. I think a lot of us can contest to that for sure. He says didn't listen to his wife. There's some give and take there. Obviously, if his wife isn't dialed into the crypto market or the crypto space in general, like it'd be very easy for her to have reservations. And I'm just speaking just from a layman's term. I don't know his wife. I don't know her knowledge of the space or whatever. But hey, he didn't listen to his wife. That was, dang, that kind of sucks, right? Because he could have, positioned himself better, like he's saying, and then he's talking about BC Backer saying, check your emotional log. Like, I know when I had my phase, it was like, I was really in a low, and I was going through a rough patch in my previous marriage, and it was just more weight. It was harder to look at my family and, think like, man, like things could have been different. And that's just a reality. So I really felt that. And then he says, don't be me, stick to your plan. And that's why I say, man, I'm going to stick to my investing strategy and, my profit taking strategy and reinvesting and all that stuff, and just try to stay involved. And then the whole thing where he was saying he quit his job and, he had to fund this fake life that he created. Man, I've heard some stories like this. These are some tragic stories where people are, in a sense, jumping the gun, if you will, and really shooting themselves in the foot. And man, more power to him. God bless you, Lex, and you and your family. And, I hope you're doing well now. It sounds like coming down here in the thread here that you were talking about. What do you say? Today I hold not even 10% of the XRP, but I'm 100% more content with my truth and more touching with my real lifestyle that I want to live. That's huge, man. And I feel this way, man. This was probably one of the most powerful tweets that I've come across, and I think a lot of us have a lot of experiences like this. And like he says, man, I'm glad I've experienced what I've experienced. I'm glad I've had my failures, and as much as they may have sucked when I was in it, with hindsight, it's going to keep me level-headed. Just like BC Backer says, I'm gonna make sure that I check my emotional log. Mine's in a Rolodex in my head, but I'm just gonna remember what it felt like when I was there and I didn't pull the trigger and I went against everything that I believed in or what I planned for, and just make sure going into the future that I stick to my plan no matter how I think I feel. And perfect examples, like say for some odd reason, right, XRP being one of my top in my portfolio. They talk about $10 or $15. For me, I have price targets before that. And as much as I believe that XRP is going to hit $10 one day, absolutely, I'm still going to stick to my strategy and execute, along the way up and take profit and secure that profit, because it means something in those steps leading up into the ultimate goal. And quite honestly, it's my kids and the life I want to provide for them is what's going to motivate me. So shout out Lex XRP, man. I just kind of wanted to rant and express that. It's very powerful. And I man, yeah, I don't know. It hit me tough, man. I wish I could talk to this gentleman here. That's huge. But that's what I have for you. Make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel. Subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Crypto's Key One. I really appreciate your support out there, and really take this to heart. Stay strong out there and be safe.